questions?
Hi, I'm Jane Matheson. And you were talking about cap and trade and feed-in tariffs, and we have neither of those. And I was wondering if you could give some idea of how those two programs contribute to the incentive to have all these things out of which you spoke, and the greenhouse gas reduction.
Cap and trade basically makes electricity more expensive, so basically incentivizes to conserve energy. So people would buy a new washing machine earlier, and they would lower the electricity prices. They look through their house more consistently and see where they can save energy. They build in automatic switches that turn lights off and on, responding to movement, stuff like that. So people are very keen on reducing their electricity bill and get sensitized to higher electricity prices. Renewable energy does the same thing also, because it also raises prices and incentivizes local efficiency behavior. Also, I mean, this effect of having people own a piece of electricity producing equipment is adding to the consciousness and the feeling and the awareness for energy issues, the reduction.
Hi, Wayne Grosco. I just had a follow-on question from something that was talked about earlier. You mentioned that a lot of housing is rented by people, particularly lower income people in Germany. And I'm wondering if you know about, is there a program or regulations that are effective in Germany at ensuring that rental housing and rental properties, particularly older ones, get upgraded in terms of their insulation levels and their overall energy efficiency? Because that's a sticky issue here as well, in terms of who is being incentivized to improve those properties, who's paying utility bills, in whose interest is it to upgrade those properties. And I'm working with people to look for better programs for that as well.
No, that's a big issue in Germany. That's a very big dilemma, and there's no easy way out of that. The regulation currently, among other things for that reason, affects mostly the energy efficiency ordinance, for example, affects mostly newly built houses. So even in that, no matter whether it's rented or lived in by the owner, this renovation issue is a rather tricky one. And of course, for the the heat law, they have defined a threshold that gives you an indication when a renovation is a major renovation, and those are the points in time when the new heat law also applies. So if you do a major renovation, you also have to put in a solar water heater. But of course, this threshold is hard to enforce and hard to define. In addition, we have the dilemma that these kinds of regulations need to be enforced by the states or even lower district governments, and it's a federal law, so we still have a subsidiarity problem with enforcing these regulations. But it's not finally solved.
One last one. My name's Hudson Shotwell. The man who's going down with his donkey hits him on the head with a 2x4. And somebody says, "Why are you doing that?" He says, "To get his attention." So he'll do what I tell him to do. So my question to you is, my friends have been talking about cap and trade. Cap and trade. We're looking into the crystal ball down south of the border, all of us, I think, and we're thinking that cap and trade is going to come along. And then it's going to drive the price of coal sky high. So the question is, does that reality, which is probably going to happen, does that actually help wind energy come online? Because the price of wind energy at that point becomes probably cheaper than what our current utility just like a donkey in many ways, is charging the cheap coal. What are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't help wind energy come online. It helps wind energy become more competitive. But online, you have, the question of whether or not you can bring a project online depends on many other factors. For example, does anybody acknowledge that competitiveness? So I think there's another much more important aspect of your crystal ball, as you call it, which is, and I've heard that in many other conversations that I had here, you actually have much better situation for introducing the cap and trade scheme than we had. We had a situation where we were the first movers. So many people didn't understand this issue that prices will go up at any rate. Many people did not understand that if they would grandfather out these certificates, utilities would still consider these a gift, a windfall, and would still raise prices. But you have this foresight, so you know there's something coming down the pipe in terms of higher prices and higher profits for your utility, at least for the time that they get the grandfathering. And if I understand the signals from the US right, even there you have grandfathering because that is necessary to buy acceptance for the scheme. So it would be good if you could do it otherwise, but it might not be the case. In either situation, whether or not they will be grandfathered, this is a major change in some of the regulations that you have here. So it's a possible trigger for some political action in terms of, what to do with these profits. What should the utility do with these benefits? What should the government do later on when it's not grandfathered anymore? So it's an opportunity for you to be creative and think about what can be done here.